Hey there, and welcome back to another exciting English learning session through movies. If you're someone who loves stories and wants to level up your vocabulary and listening skills, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into a beautifully crafted film that explores deep emotions, inner transformation, and societal expectations, Lady Chatterley's Lover, directed by Laura de Clermont-Tonnerre. Over the next few scenes, we'll explore the story, unpack key themes, and spotlight powerful vocabulary you can use in real life, whether you're prepping for IELTS or just want to sound more natural in English. Let's begin the journey. All right, let's get into the heart of the story. Lady Chatterley's Lover is set in post-World War I England and follows the life of Connie Reed, an upper-class woman who becomes Lady Chatterley after marrying Sir Clifford Chatterley. But soon after their marriage, Clifford returns from the war paralyzed from the waist down and emotionally distant. Connie finds herself stuck in a cold, passionless world of status and duty. Everything changes when she meets Oliver Mellors, the gamekeeper on their estate. What starts as quiet curiosity slowly blooms into a powerful and forbidden love. The movie takes us through Connie's emotional awakening as she breaks away from societal expectations and discovers a life of desire, connection, and freedom. It's a story filled with tenderness, rebellion, and the search for true intimacy. And we're going to learn some amazing vocabulary along the way. Now let's talk about the core themes that flow through Lady Chatterley's Lover. These aren't just part of the story, they're the emotional heartbeat of the film. Forbidden love. At its center, the film is about a love that defies societal norms. Connie falls for someone she's not supposed to, and that brings both risk and freedom. Loneliness and emotional neglect. Connie is surrounded by people, but emotionally isolated. Her husband, though present, is disconnected from her emotionally and physically, which sets the stage for her yearning. Reclaiming desire and identity. Connie's journey is one of rediscovering herself, her body, her needs, her voice. It's a powerful reminder that losing yourself in a role doesn't mean you're lost forever. Class and power dynamics. There's tension between the upper and working classes. Connie's lover, Mellors, is a gamekeeper, a man beneath her status. But the film flips that dynamic on its head. All these themes connect deeply to real-life human emotions, and that's why the vocabulary we pull from this film will be so rich and meaningful. All right, let's kick off our vocabulary spotlight with the first word inspired by Lady Chatterley's Lover. Word yearning. Meaning, a deep emotional longing for something, especially something out of reach. Synonyms, longing, desire. Opposites, indifference, contentment. In conversation, she had a yearning to escape her routine and feel truly alive again. You can use this word when talking about deep emotional wants, especially when something's missing in your life. In writing, Connie's yearning for intimacy pulsed beneath every quiet moment of her married life. This is great for descriptive writing or emotional reflection in essays and stories. Try using yearning in a few of your own sentences, something personal or something creative. Word resentment, meaning a feeling of bitterness or anger because of being treated unfairly. Synonyms, bitterness, grudge. Opposites, forgiveness, acceptance. In conversation, he felt resentment toward his boss for constantly ignoring his hard work. You might use this word when you or someone else feels wronged or unappreciated. In writing, Sir Clifford's quiet resentment simmered beneath his polite exterior, growing with every passing day Connie spent away. This word adds emotional depth when you're writing about inner conflict or suppressed anger. Give it a shot. Try using resentment in 2 or 3 of your own examples. Word liberation, meaning the act of setting someone free from restrictions or limitations. Synonyms: freedom, release, emancipation. Opposites: captivity, confinement. In conversation, she felt a sense of liberation after quitting the job that made her miserable. You can use this word when talking about moments of emotional, mental, or physical freedom. In writing, Connie's walks in the forest were more than just strolls. They were moments of quiet liberation from the suffocating rules of her world. This word works beautifully when describing personal growth or escape from control. Now it's your turn. Create a few sentences using liberation. Try using it in different situations. The spelling of yearning is as in yellow, E as in England, A as in Africa, Russia, N as in New Zealand, A as in India, as in New York, G as in guava. Word, resentment, meaning a feeling of bitterness or anger about something unfair. Synonyms: bitterness, grudge, indignation. Opposites: forgiveness, acceptance. In conversation, he still carries resentment over how his ideas were dismissed at work. You can use this word when someone feels hurt or wronged over time. In writing, Connie's quiet resentment toward her emotionally distant husband grew with each cold, silent evening. Great for essays or stories where characters hide inner emotional struggles. Try writing 2 to 3 sentences using resentment, one for a daily situation, one for a story or reflection. Word, liberation, meaning the act of gaining freedom or being released from restrictions. Synonyms: freedom, release, emancipation. Opposites: captivity, confinement, oppression. In conversation, taking that solo trip felt like a personal liberation. You can use this word when talking about emotional freedom or breaking free from pressure. In writing, Lady Chatterley's journey is ultimately about emotional and physical liberation from societal expectations. Perfect for essays about character development or themes of freedom. Try using liberation in a sentence about a choice you made or a story you've read. Word, resentment, meaning a feeling of bitterness or anger caused by being treated unfairly. Synonyms: bitterness, grudge, irritation. Opposites: contentment, acceptance, goodwill. In conversation, she still carried a quiet resentment after being overlooked for the promotion. You can use this word when talking about lingering negative feelings. In writing, Sir Clifford's condition and emotional distance created layers of resentment in his marriage. Great for analytical writing on character emotions and conflict. Try using resentment in a sentence about a situation where someone felt wronged or misunderstood. Word, intimacy, meaning a close, familiar, and usually affectionate or loving personal relationship. Synonyms: closeness, affection, warmth. Opposites: distance, coldness, detachment. In conversation, there's a special kind of intimacy between lifelong friends. You can use this when talking about emotional bonds or personal closeness. In writing, Lady Chatterley slowly discovers emotional intimacy with Oliver, which contrasts her distant marriage. Perfect for essays on relationships, personal growth, or emotional depth. Try using intimacy in a sentence about friendship, love, or vulnerability. Word, liberation, meaning the act of setting someone free from imprisonment, slavery, or oppression. Synonyms: freedom, release, emancipation. Opposites: captivity, restriction, confinement. In conversation, quitting that toxic job felt like total liberation. Use this when you want to describe the feeling of breaking free from something holding you back. In writing, Lady Chatterley's emotional journey becomes a story of personal liberation as she chooses her own path. Great for writing about independence, transformation, or social freedom. Now try creating your own sentence using liberation. What's something you felt free from? Let's slow down for a second and focus on how the film sounds just as much as how it looks. Ask yourself during key scenes, what does the character really feel beneath the words? Why do they pause, or speak softly, or raise their voice? How does the background music shift your emotions as a viewer? Paying attention to these small details helps you sharpen your listening skills. Super useful for IELTS or TOEFL exams where tone, implication, and intent really matter. Understanding the theme and message. Now let's take a moment to reflect on the deeper meaning behind Lady Chatterley's lover. Is it just a love story? Or is it also about breaking free from expectations? Think about the message the film is trying to send. Is it telling us that love can bloom in unexpected places? Or maybe it's a story about choosing personal happiness over social pressure. Understanding this helps you talk about themes and messages, a great skill for essay writing and speaking responses. Inference and prediction practice. Let's sharpen your skills by thinking a little deeper. What do you think the characters are really feeling in those intense, quiet moments? What's going on beneath the words they speak? Now imagine, if you pause the movie halfway through, could you guess what might happen next? Practicing this kind of thinking helps you in the IELTS and TOEFL when you have to predict tone, emotions, or outcomes in listening and reading sections. Quick summary note-taking format. Here's a super useful way to break down any movie, especially if you're prepping for IELTS or TOEFL writing and speaking. Character. Who is the main character? What do they want? Challenge. What is the big obstacle they face? Turning point. What event changes everything? Climax. What's the most intense or emotional moment? Resolution. How does it all end? What's the takeaway? Try writing this summary in your own words. It's great practice for both storytelling and structured responses in exams. Useful topics for IELTS speaking writing. Let's look at a few deep and relatable themes from this movie that you can use in your IELTS or TOEFL responses. Emotional intelligence and relationships. How do people handle feelings like love, jealousy, or loneliness? Great for discussing character behavior and personal growth. Personal freedom and societal expectations. Think about how Connie struggles between what society expects and what her heart desires. Growth through struggle and change. Facing emotional and social conflicts helps characters and real people grow. War, trauma, and healing. Clifford's injury and the post-war setting bring up themes of recovery, both physical and emotional. See Final Review Challenge. Let's do a quick recap to lock in what you've learned. 3 main events. 1. Connie's emotional disconnect from Clifford. 2. Her growing connection with Oliver, the gamekeeper. 3. Her decision to follow her heart despite judgment. 2 emotional shifts. From isolation to connection. From societal obedience to personal freedom. 1. Powerful transformation. Connie transforms from a restrained, obedient wife into a woman who reclaims her independence and emotional truth. Scene 20. Wrap up. So if you had to sum up Lady Chatterley's lover in just one sentence, what would you say? Maybe something like, it's a powerful story about breaking free from society's expectations to follow your heart. What's the deeper message you're taking away? Love without freedom is not truly love at all. An emotional connection is worth fighting for. If you enjoyed this vocabulary boost session, hit like, share it with someone learning English, and drop a comment with the next movie you want me to cover. See you in the next episode.